Was Friday's pullback just a blip in the now 3-year-old bull market, or will today's comeback start to lose steam? Guy.
Hello, Melissa.
Hello,
well, listen,
Guy.
I mean, you mentioned 50%, 60%, depending on what you're looking at, we recoup. But I'll say this. I think the technical damage done last week and in sort of the days leading up to last week are enough where I don't think Friday was necessarily a blip. And I think the market was looking for an excuse to sell off. It found it in the form of the comments from President Trump. But I don't think it's the end of it, is what I'm saying. I do think there's some legs to the downside yet to be seen. And, you know, I think, again, the die was cast with some of the technical moves that we saw.
Alia jacta est, as they would say in Latin.
Whoa.
Wow.
And I took four or 5 years of Latin,
So
and that
did
went
I.
right over my head. Well, this happens a lot.
So this is just a rest in the selling.
Well,
but it will continue?
Interesting. Guys, folks, in that this isn't just a blip in terms of, hey, just kidding. There's no question we saw from the market's reaction two things. One is that this is a nervous market. We had seen volatility creeping up towards the end of the week. Even without that move, it was a choppy week at best. We've kind of run out of gas, although we're going to talk about OpenAI's new headlines today. But the dynamics of getting a lot of macro, a lot of headlines without a lot of bottom-up substance. That's the great thing about earnings season, which is coming down the pike here. But I don't think there's any question. The reaction we had on Friday tells you that this is a market that is nervous. It also tells you, and I think we said this on Fridays, I'm not sure there aren't a lot of people that want to buy dips out there. Right now, that mentality is, I think, well in place, but the news flow needs to support it.
Well, we saw the OpenAI deal, which we'll get to, but we saw real buying, in semis. The places that were hardest hit on Friday got the most buying in today's session. China stocks had a really nice rebound.
I wonder, without that OpenAI Broadcom announcement this morning, if you would have had that sort of outperformance by a lot of these names. Obviously, you know, Broadcom was up 10%, right? It wasn't down 10% on Friday. And I think when, you know, you kind of just take stock of all of these deals that have been announced over the last month, whether it's OpenAI and NVIDIA or the two of them together or Broadcom, I mean, the list goes on and on and on, AMD, right? You have to say to yourself, they were coming in kind of white hot into earnings, right? So when you see all of these deals and the scale in which they're announced, you have to say to yourself, what are they going to leave? What else is there, right? And so we're seeing some analyst days. Oracle has one this week. They're not going to report again for a couple months. That's going to be really interesting what that company has to say, especially when you think about some of the stuff that's leaked out of the company about the margins in the group that is expected to get hundreds of billions of dollars in revenue over the next few years or so. And it just seems to be a lot of these companies are trading off of a level of enthusiasm that we know that we've seen before, but the scale in which we're doing it, you know, OpenAI has done $1 trillion worth of deals, $1 trillion, and they're going to take years and years to play themselves out. So that is one of the things that is fueling this tech market.
That's
right
why
now.
I think earnings season is coming in the nick of time, because I think we're going to hear numbers out of banks. We're going to hear their business. We're going to get the barometer on the economy at a time we have a void of macroeconomic with the government shutdown. So I think it's important. Really interesting, though, you know, here's gold having the kind of a day that would indicate, and I realize we've carved through a new asset class, although we've been talking about this for a while, but gold's move today tells you something, and it tells you that even where you had a rally back in risk assets, gold hasn't necessarily been trading, well, like a risk asset, but that's not today's move.